10. A dangerous outside shooter is able to take the ball to the basket. In fact, he loves to take it and get in the lane. Of course, if you play for Gene Cady, you got to guard somebody, and Dean can play defense as well.
So it's number 8 LSU against number 9 Purdue as we take a look at our lineups here in Birmingham. There's Gene Cady first in his 23rd season as Purdue's head coach. His tournament record, 18-16. This is his 16th appearance. Starting lineups: Booker, Busher, Dean, McKnight, and Lowe for the Boilermakers. Dupree, Yareda, Bright, Whipple, and Temple III will start for LSU. And in that group is John Brady, the head coach of the Tigers, in his 6th season as the head coach, and his tournament record at 2-1.
And all those games, all 3 of those games in the 2000 NCAA Tournament, LSU, the SEC champions in 2000, advanced to the Sweet 16 before losing to Wisconsin.
LSU losing to Mississippi State, Dan, in the SEC Tournament semifinals, 76-61. Purdue losing to Michigan State in the first round of the Big Ten Tournament by 12, 54-42. And hey, we are underway. It's the 8th seed LSU Tigers against the 9th seed Purdue Boilermakers.
Man-to-man defense for LSU.
Willie Dean, not shy to shoot the ball, takes the first shot of the game. Saved, but picked up. Low hits.
And I think that's what Purdue wants to do, and that is get a little bit of a transition opportunity going. Purdue doesn't always play well in their half-court offense. That was a scramble situation, and Lowe is a deadly shooter.
Shoots 41.5% from behind the arc. It's 3-0 Purdue, and he's been battling that injured left shoulder of late. Hurt it against Ohio State in January.
Purdue starts in the man-to-man defense, and Jaime Ureta is a key on the inside for LSU. Purdue would be well advised to not give Ureta that much time on the inside. Booker picks up the foul, but Ureta has had a fabulous season. He was the Junior College Player of the Year last year, and he has played very well for LSU, averaging 12 points a game.
Played at Dixie State College out in Utah. He's the high-energy emotion guy. Sometimes comes out maybe a little bit too on fire and has to settle into a rhythm as he misses his first free throw.
Only a 56% free throw shooter. Interestingly enough, he's also a 56% shooter from the field.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, he shoots closer. When he's shooting from the field, he's shooting right down in front of the basket. Shooting 15 feet away is a little bit of a problem.
Missed the pair. Purdue by 3 in transition, and a whistle on the shot taken by Lowe. And that will be a 3-shot foul.
Now, interestingly enough, the Purdue Boilermakers are a team that's associated with defense and half-court play, and they really do want to lock you up defensively. But here, they want to push the ball, and they do it that time. Lowe gets down the court quickly. Purdue thinks that LSU gets back on defense a little bit slowly and that they have an opportunity to run the ball up the court.
Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Despite some shoulder problems, he's deadly from the free throw line, down at 89%. He made the first and the second, and he'll get another as he was fouled shooting the 3.
And this is just the kind of start that Gene Cady wanted to have. LSU, a very athletic team. They shoot the 3 very well. It's a team that Purdue, I think, does not want to try to play from behind. And a 6-0 start, Gene Cady will take that every game.
Yeah, it's Kenneth Lowe 6 and LSU yet to score. And we played a minute. Bright backs it out.
And Lowe, you mentioned the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten. He's matched up against Dupree. And that is an interesting matchup. Lowe, 6'3", weighs 200 pounds.
Busher doing a nice job. Drive the dish. Ureta. He's a big body at 6'9", 250. And he pops the rim for the first points for LSU. McKnight wants the 3. Dupree, little mismatch, and he takes advantage, floats it up, too strong. Willie Dean up high, the little guy can board. Very quick, whips it out of bounds, turnover. LSU basketball.
Xavier Whipple is a guy that entered the LSU lineup about midway through the season and really helped turn things around. You can see his good quickness with the penetration right there, and Ureta catches the ball very well around the basket.
We played 2 minutes.
Oh, that's a great defensive job by Lowe.
Dupree, baseline. Hangs on that pivot foot. Now puts it on the floor. Fires. Whipple wants the three, around and out. 6-2 Purdue.
Whipple's only made 5 3-point baskets on the year. You'd prefer Collis Temple or Dupree shooting, or Torres Bright shooting the three.
Oh, switch to the left hand, and he was cut off on the baseline. I'll tell you, Lowe looks healthy. I know he's had the shoulder problem, but that's a quick eight for Kenneth Lowe. Ureta tied up.
Well, that is the second time that LSU has gotten great penetration from one side of the court, and the defense doesn't rotate back, and Ureta is the guy left alone under the basket. I'll tell you what, if you're going to leave somebody alone under the basket, it can't be Jaime Ureta.
The foul on McKnight. His numbers on the season. Already missed a pair of free throws. 0 for 3. Substitution for Gene Cady.
And Ureta is a guy who gets to the free throw line a lot. He's been to the line 130, now 140 times coming into the game. 137 free throw attempts, most for LSU, but as we mentioned, only a 56% shooter.
Matt Kiefer in for Purdue, and finally rolls in his 4th try. His 3rd point.
You know, Lowe has all the points for Purdue, and Ureta has all the points for LSU.
And we played nearly 3 minutes.
What's the cliche? You got to get other guys involved.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was going to be Ureta and Lowe today. A one-on-one match so far. Lowe has it. Puts it on the floor. Tough pass inside. Now they feed down low. Bodies fly. Double clutch. No whistle as Matt Kiefer was tied up. LSU playing some tough D down low.
One of the problems that Purdue has is they get very little offense sometimes from their big guys inside. Kiefer is just trying as hard as he can, and that ball is actually blocked out of there by Torres Bright, one of the littlest guys on the floor.
Temple the third.
Temple, a dangerous three-point shooter.
Ronald Dupree goes inside, forces the ball out, and a whistle. Lowe picks up the foul for Purdue, his first.
Well, Dupree and Temple are going to be tough matchups.
Boy, look at that. He is so smooth, relaxed. Collis Temple the third out of Baton Rouge.
And did you see the expression on Lowe's face? He was right up on Temple, and it didn't make any difference.
Booker rebounds the miss of Dean. That three, by the way, by Collis Temple is the first bucket scored besides Lowe for Purdue and Ureta for LSU.
Dean matched up against Whipple.
A sophomore is Whipple.
Now McKnight is matched up against Torres Bright. McKnight, the second best ball defender for Purdue. So they're trying to shut off that LSU offense out on the perimeter.
Bright throws it across the court, wide open. Was Temple. Missed the three. Here comes Willie Dean, so dangerous. Went right and left, and now he picked up a foot. They call him for traveling. Interesting tempo to start this game.
Purdue wants to have a quick game.
15-22 left in the opening half, and Purdue up by 2. Well, one famous name does play for LSU, but he didn't make the trip to Birmingham. And for that story, let's go to our third member of our team, Brett Haber.
Well, Craig, thanks very much. And this was supposed to be the return to the postseason for the Maravich family. Of course, the legend Pistol Pete played for LSU in the late 60s. His son Josh is now a freshman for the Tigers. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, he did not accompany the team here. You see, he's only a walk-on, and he only occasionally plays, does Josh, for this LSU team. And with midterms this week, he made the tough decision to stay on campus and take the tests versus going with the school to Birmingham. It's an odd decision according to some, but one I think many dads would be proud of, Craig.
All right, thank you, Brett. Yeah, you have to wonder what the great Pistol would think about son staying back to work on the studies. Of course, student athlete is what we talk about so much.
But of course, remember the story about Pistol Pete's dad, Press, who, when Pistol Pete's math teacher complained that Pistol Pete wasn't doing well in math, Press said, what do you need math for? He's going to be a basketball player.
Dupree puts it on the floor, drives, slashes. Oh, what a shot. Started left, cut back right, got the layup. Dupree on the board, averaging 16 a game.
Talked about Dupree earlier. He is a guy who can really do a good job creating opportunities for LSU. Now here's Purdue in the half-court set, and this is where they have struggled, particularly recently.
Nice double down, but they find the open Kiefer going down the paint, but he shuffled his feet. He wanted to dish off, and they got him. Turnover.
Talk about Dupree and his ability to create things. Here is a mismatch out on the top with Booker. Booker can't stay with him out on the perimeter. Dupree recognizing and taking it to the basket.
Purdue now with 3 turnovers. 8-8 our score. LSU, Dupree spinning down the lane, gives it off. Tough double team. The shot falls off. Temple rebound for the Tigers. The putback wouldn't go, and a whistle.
I think that foul is going to be against Dupree coming over the back. But there is an interesting matchup issue here for Purdue, Craig, and that is Purdue's playing 2 post guys. At this point, it's Booker and Kiefer. One of them has to guard Ureta. The other one has to guard either Temple or Dupree, and in that situation, it is a tough matchup for either one.
Alley-oop. Ureta picked it out of the sky. Let me ask you about what John Brady will have to do. Dupree on the floor with 2 fouls at the 13:50 mark.
John Brady not making any move to substitute for Dupree. You expect your veterans to know how to play with fouls, and that's what Dupree is going to have to do.
You know, I just saw Dupree take a long glance at John Brady. They made eye contact. He's probably wondering the same thing.
Well, Dupree's a senior, so you just have to be careful.
Shot off the mark. Dean up for the rebound. That's his 4th board early. McKnight, wide open look, and hits.
And we don't want to belabor the point, but Purdue wants to set their defense, but they want to push their offense before LSU can set its defense. And Purdue has been most effective today when they have gotten a shot in transition.
Temple back to Dupree from the corner. Did not hit rim. Purdue quickly in transition low. Picked up by Dupree. Inside, and a soft touch. And Matt Kiefer, the freshman from Evansville, Indiana, on the board.
And that's a positive sign for Purdue. They really need to get some scoring from their post guys on the inside.
Boilermakers by 4.
Man-to-man for Purdue.
Whipple working on Dean. Bright.
We have barely mentioned the name Taurus Bright.
Yes. Spin move, Ureta, got it.
And you can see what Ureta wants to do. Take the ball to the basket. You can't let him start at the free throw line and get all the way to the goal.
Shoots 56% from the floor. Nice spin for 5 points. Jaime Ureta, junior. Inside shot, batted around. LSU has it. Taurus Bright across midcourt. Temple the third. Big bounce, couldn't go. Whipple, the rebound, lost it. But he was fouled.
We talk about Jaime Ureta. He is basically a back-to-the-basket player, but here's a situation where he starts facing the basket, then backs in, and that's all the way from the free throw line. Look at how much room he has here. It's not until the last minute that Purdue comes over to help. They've got to get to Ureta much earlier than that, force him to give up the ball.
Whipple, 62% free throw shooter. He scores his first point. Substitutions. Some fresh legs at the 12-minute mark.
And you're talking about Whipple. Whipple is a guy who was barely playing at all. LSU was playing at Alabama, and it was the end of the game. Alabama was well ahead, so they just put Whipple in. He played the last 10 minutes of the game, did some nice things, really hustled. John Brady decided he was going to reward that, and since then, Whipple has been a fixture in the LSU starting lineup. It has allowed Taurus Bright to move to the shooting guard spot, and LSU has been much better since that change occurred.
You know what, Dan? It's an opportunity where you get one, you take it. How about that? A three? It was.
That's Buckley. Buckley can really shoot it.
A freshman out of Chicago. He's bulked up a bit. Spent some time in the weight room, and he fires down that three. 15-12 Purdue.
There's a lot of really good freshmen around the country, but this Purdue freshman class is one of the better ones, and nobody, you know, you don't hear much about it.
A timeout in Birmingham. Purdue LSU. Pretty good battle. Number 9 against number 8.
Craig Gumbel and Clark.
LSU by 3. And Dan, the past 2 seasons have been difficult ones for Purdue head coach Gene Cady. NIT in 2001, they went 17-15. No postseason a year ago at 13-18. There were some skeptics. Had the game pass Gene Cady by. You mentioned that the freshman class have been very impressive with Teague and Kiefer and Buckley, but also they went to the junior college ranks and got a big body in Chris Booker.
Well, of course, Gene Cady is one of the guys in the coaching business. When people talk about the great coaches, his name doesn't come up unless you talk to some really knowledgeable people. This is a Purdue program that year in and year out under Gene Cady has been very, very good.
Ureta, and again strong.
And again, we see Ureta's ability to get the ball to the basket. And again, he's a guy you got to double him and you got to make him pass the ball.
Ureta has scored half of LSU points. It's 15-14, but that changes quickly as Busher hits.
Well, now Ureta on the defensive end is matched up against Busher, and Ureta doesn't want to go out to the corner to guard that jump shot. So if Busher can make that, that really helps Purdue.
3-point game. Temple.
Tight. And that is some deep range, and that's with Kiefer right in his face. Kiefer is 6'10". Collis Temple III just nailed him.
6 points. He's hit 2 threes. Short on the jumper. Little hook shot wouldn't go. And Ureta battles and just rips that rebound down. $17 all.
Man-to-man for Purdue. Now this is a tough matchup for Busher.
Mitchell. Ureta moves strong baseline, his 9th point, and he will go to the free throw line.
Ureta really does a nice job. Look at what great position he gets inside. Teague comes to help, but Ureta with great patience waits until he has Teague sort of figured out and then takes the ball to the basket. Teague's got to get down there, and you've got to take the ball from the big guy when he dribbles it, and Teague did not do that.
From the corner, short. 17 all. Purdue, LSU, number 9. Boilermakers against the 8th seed LSU Tigers. Under 10 minutes left, opening half. Low dishes.
Tough shot.
Short on the jumper by Teague. And LSU will have it.
You know, we talked about deep teams, and we mentioned that Texas is a very deep team. Well, Gene Cady, he has 11 guys who play 10 or more minutes on average, so Purdue can run a lot of bodies at you as well.
Dan, this is a much better start for Purdue than what they had against Michigan State in the first round of the Big Ten tournament.
Oh, my heavens.
They only had 12 first half points. They shot 26% and they had 20 turnovers.
So it wouldn't be hard to have a better start. That's great defense right there.
Look what Lowe got. He put his arms up. The ball just kind of stuck in there. Baseline. And a good call by the official.
Cartello stepped out of bounds.
Good call. Was right on the spot.
Talking about Michigan State, and this is the only word you can use to describe this from a Purdue standpoint is ugly. I'll tell you what, 12 points, 4 field goals, 16 turnovers. That is not the way you want to play offense.
Under 9 minutes remaining. Oh, look at that shot from the corner. Knocked down by Antonio Hudson, the sophomore from Grambling, Louisiana.
The sophomore from Grambling, Louisiana, who had a great end of his freshman season, and they really thought he was going to explode this year, but just has not done it.
Willie Dean answers back.
Get an idea of the strength of Willie Dean right there. Bounces off an LSU defender, but maintains his balance and sticks it in the basket.
6'1", tips the scales around 200. You're right, and he's got legs.
Well, he's got, look at those arms. He could be doing one of those weightlifting ads.
Ureta steps up, trying to use the glass. Look at that offensive rebound, tied up, jump ball, and the possession arrow pointing to Purdue.
You can see very clearly, though, that Ureta does not want to shoot that 12-foot jump shot. He wants to take the ball to the basket. Cartello doing a nice job tying him up. Ureta going out of the game for a rest, and Bridgewater coming in the ball game for LSU.
Brad Bridgewater, 6'8", 270. Averages about 13 minutes for John Brady. You see the game trends. It's been 3 ties, 1 lead change. Biggest lead Purdue by 6 early.
And that's when they scored the first 6 points of the game.
8 minutes left, opening half, 20-19 LSU.
Lowe, and that's just great offense right there. Lowe did everything he could defensively.
Bright hits the 2.
And Bright, to this point, has been very quiet offensively.
Long 3, around and out. Rebound Low, the putback, got it.
This is very interesting. Purdue still not getting a lot of inside production from their post guys, but their perimeter guys rebounding the ball, taking it to the basket, are giving Purdue an inside game.
Low in double figures, Dan, with 10 points. Bright. Dupree drives now with a follow away. Off the iron, and it was knocked away by Dean to right. Up and down we go. It's a battle. LSU Purdue. Tigers up by 1, 22-21. LSU leads Purdue 22-21, 7:18 left in the opening half. Greg Bullerjack, Dan Bonner, Brett Haber, our CBS crew here in Birmingham. Dan, the tempo of this game, I'm curious, who does it favor?
Well, I think right at the moment, the tempo doesn't favor anybody. LSU is comfortable at this tempo. What has been happening is that Purdue has been able to get some easy baskets in transition. What Purdue wants to do is set its defense against LSU and run a little bit on offense, and they have been able to do that early in the game. LSU has made a couple of threes, and that is why they have the lead.
Hudson has it on the inbound. Hands it back off to Torres Bright.
But Purdue is comfortable playing quickly as long as they can get back and get their defense set. Boy, Lowe is just all over Hudson defensively.
Has to back it out.
That's the way you guard somebody with the ball, folks.
Now Dupree handles it for LSU, looking for a little help. Bright dribbles baseline, pulls up. Off the iron, and the rebound goes to Purdue, and they want to push it. Busher up and in with the left hand.
That's exactly what we were just talking about, Craig. Purdue digs in on defense. They lock up their opposition on the defensive end, and then they get going for the easy one on offense.
Brett Busher with a couple of first half buckets. He played for his dad, Bob, in high school. Looked like a son who was taught well by his dad from using right to left hand. Quickly down court, taken away. Here comes LSU the other way. Bright, nice move. Mitchell, baseline, got it. No.
That's a great job by Purdue in transition. Dean makes a mistake. You don't want to try to throw that long pass to a big guy, but Purdue does a great job getting back and getting in position. Mitchell taking the ball to the basket, getting the charge, but that's just a great job by the Purdue defenders to get back and get set.
We'll take away the bucket and give Mitchell a foul, and Collis Temple III returns, number 41 for LSU. He's hit a pair of threes. Dean gives it off low from long range. Hudson climbs up the ladder for the rebound.
LSU plays a lot of guys too. They've got 10 guys who average double-figure minutes. Now Busher going to get called for the foul. And that's the matchup problem we've been talking about. If Busher is going to try to guard Dupree or Temple out on the perimeter, those guys can really put some pressure on him by trying to take the ball past it.
Busher goes out, and in for Purdue is Melvin Buckley.
Buckley, the freshman you were talking about, he is a much better matchup in that man-to-man. Buckley 6'7", 200 pounds. Some think that he'll be the best of that freshman class for Purdue.
Dupree makes the first, and follow every play from each game of the NCAA Tournament in the Game Center, along with updated scoreboards at CBSSportsline.com or on American Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline. Melvin Buckley, 6'7", 200, out of Chicago. And you mentioned just starting what could be a fabulous Big Ten career. There's a steal by LSU, but it's taken right back. Low with the fake, the drive. He got Temple up, and a whistle. The first on Collis Temple III.
And these guys are really going at it. LSU gets the steal but gives it away, and McKnight is really good in transition. And Lowe, this is a guy that, remember, is just coming back from a dislocated shoulder, and that is some real courage to take the ball in there like that. Well, he's not worried about that shoulder at all.
Makes the first, 11 points for Lowe. You know, he redshirted last year because of right shoulder surgery and then injured the left shoulder late in January against the Buckeyes, as I mentioned. And there you can see he's got a brace. It's kind of a compression brace. It just keeps that shoulder from popping out, basically. Made the second.
Well, the Purdue medical staff has determined that even if the shoulder pops out again, that Lowe won't hurt it any more than it's already hurt. It'll be doggone painful, and he won't be able to play, but he runs no risk of further injury.
Too strong. Ureta, the tip. Temple. 3 shots at it, and it wouldn't fall in. Here comes Dean. Quickly, LSU back on defense. Dean takes a strong ball, stripped away.
Boy, it's tough around the basket.
Boy, LSU wants to run. Lost it. Bright was looking for the trailer and lost it out of bounds.
Well, he didn't lose it out of bounds. Dean came around and made a nice play to knock it out of bounds. Dean takes the ball hard to the basket, and there is Hudson with the blocked shot.
Under 5 minutes left in this half. Ureta works strong, goes strong. The bucket and a chance for a 3-point play.
Takes the ball to the basket, facing the basket, gets to a position on the court, stops, pivots, and scores. Well, how many times have we seen him? Well, here he goes back to the basket, now turns, faces, pivots again. He does a great job using his body and using his feet.
26-25 LSU. A chance for the Tigers to go up by 2.
You know, if you can use your pivot foot effectively on the inside, you can score an awful lot of points.
McKnight has it for Purdue. Boilermakers were 18-10. 10-6 in Big Ten play. LSU 21-10, 8-8 in the SEC. Long range shot. Hello. Buckley, another 3. A pair of 3s for the 6'7" freshman.
He's obviously very intimidated by being in his first NCAA tournament game.
He's in that zone. He doesn't know where he is. Hudson in traffic, puts it up. And a whistle.
The Purdue Boilermakers, we mentioned sometimes they struggle in the half-court offense, and Dupree with those 2 personal fouls just didn't do a good job getting out on Buckley.
Antonio Hudson, 68% free throw shooter at the line.
And this is an interesting matchup. If you get into a free throw shooting contest with these teams, the advantage is obviously to Purdue. Purdue, an outstanding free throw shooting team. LSU, not a very good free throw shooting team.
Hudson with another. Missed it. Busher is back in. 28-27. Dupree with only his second bucket. And this is a player down that averages 16 points a game. Anna Biloxi has been in double figures, 29 of 31.
Oh, and Lowe's hurt. Lowe just hurt that shoulder.
He just looked up, and you are right.
He just hurt that shoulder. That's just what we were talking about. He landed on that thing, and boy, he is in pain.
Get some help up.
And he can't use that left arm. Well, now this is one tough guy. You can see he lands right on there.
That arm bowed out a bit. Wow, we'll check on it. 3:52 left in the first half. We'll be back to Birmingham. Here's our game summary in LSU, and a tight one here. 29-28. 29-28. 29-28. LSU leading Purdue in our game summary. Field goals, 3-point shots is 6 of 16 in this game. And let's now go over for an update, because Kenneth Lowe was hurt prior to that timeout. You get an update from Brett Haber.
Well, guys, you are correct. It was Lowe's shoulder, and it was the same shoulder that he dislocated against Ohio State. However, it is not dislocated on this occasion. They say that it didn't move. That's the medical term for dislocation. It's hurt. He landed on it when he hit the floor, but they think he'll be able to come back after a little ice and a little rest.
All right, thank you, Brett. You saw the numbers. Kenneth Lowe with 12 points, 3 of 5. He's also had 2 rebounds. Clock under 4 minutes in this first half. 29-28 LSU. It's the 9th seed against the 8th in the South. Out of bounds it goes with 3:37 left. 21 seconds on that shot clock. Dan Bonner, interesting tempo. Still looking for a tempo to really describe it with these two teams. Well, very interesting game thus far. The game has been back and forth. Ureta has really done a nice job inside, as LSU has been able to create lots of opportunities like that. Ureta one-on-one on the inside. He doesn't convert that time, but LSU is going to get the ball back. Purdue, on the other hand, has played really tough defense for the most part, and they've been able to get some baskets in transition. Ureta with 11 points, but also 7 rebounds. 3 on the offensive end. 1 point LSU lead. They're trying to add to it. And did he beat it? Yeah. Banked it off the glass just as the buzzer sounded. Antonio Hudson. Well, he's done a nice job giving LSU a lift off the bench. He's got 6 points. Busher, the rebound off the miss, and a fresh shot clock. Dean, head fake drives, and he ran into some tall bodies, Hudson and Ureta. Well, again, Purdue has struggled getting points out of their big guys in the low post, and so Gene Katie's crew has tried to create an inside game by driving the ball to the basket. I think Coach Katie was asking for a foul right there. Dean is a guy who gets to the free throw line a lot, and he hadn't been there in this half. Teague has it for Purdue. Purdue in the zone defense on the underneath out of bounds. Busher tried to cut across the middle. Buckley didn't see him. Now Buckley Turn around, soft touch.
8 points now off the bench. Buckley's really helped the Purdue cause.
He's more than doubled his season average. Out of Chicago. 31-30 LSU. For three. Off the mark. Ball is loose. Dupree has it. And a fresh shot clock coming up on 2 minutes left before the half.
Now remember, Dupree has those 2 personal fouls.
Another three, around and out.
Boy, good block out by Busher.
Put the big paw up and got the rebound. Quickly down court. Soft touch, no. Busher follows, couldn't get it to drop. And the rebound, guess who? Ureta. That's 8. 8 rebounds. And he's going to walk it up the court. Try to catch his breath. He's gone the distance.
But it'd be good to wait for him.
5 ties, 7 lead changes. Bright head fake, drives the paint, kicks to the corner. Long three, way off the mark. Carlos Temple, the third, had to rush it. You see that reach in? He slapped that away from Willie Dean.
When each team for the last couple of possessions really disorganized, really in a hurry. Boy, that's just a nice job. You got to know who's behind you, and Dean didn't. And then I think this is just a play made because he's tired. Dean just reaches around. I think he didn't want to run back down the court. Now he fouled Ureta, and Ureta has not scored well from the free throw line today. As a team, LSU only 6 of 11. Ureta 1 out of 4.
There are a lot of players with their hands up. They've been pulling on the shorts. It's been up and down the last 3 minutes. Ureta rattles in a free throw. That's his 10th point in double figures. And there is Kenneth Lowe returning. Took a few minutes to shake off that shot to the shoulder. Ivan Cartello also in for Purdue.
Well, now I'll give you an interesting number here. Purdue has played 18 games this year where they've scored 69 or more points, and they've won all 18 of those games. So Purdue would really like to get to 69, and they're not quite to that pace yet. So you asked the question before, which team does this pace favor? Well, at the moment, you'd have to say it favors LSU.
Low spinning, lost it, and then a whistle. Looks a bit frustrated. Purdue down 2 with 1:04 left in this first half. 32-30. It's the 9th seed against the 8th, and the foul is whistled on Mitchell. Dan, his second.
It is a game. You got a chance to look at both of the coaches there. It is a game in which neither team has been able to seize control. Ties, lead changes. The game keeps going back and forth. This guy has been outstanding.
Low 5 for 5, 89% shooter. Now 6 for 6 with 14 points. Tied at 32. 1:04 left here in Birmingham.
And Gene Katie just keeps going down his bench. Here's Kilgore coming in the game. His first appearance.
Parkinson also, who doesn't play a lot of minutes. Number 11 is in. Forrest Bright under a minute. Leaves it for Temple. Mitchell to the corner. Pickoff, the freshman, Buckley. And a timeout. Boy, Buckley's been impressive in this first half. 32 all in Birmingham. Purdue and LSU even at 32 all, 40 seconds left. Make sure you stick around. Coming up on the Singular at the half. Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg. Busy day. It continues. Scores and highlights plus live look-ins. That's coming up on Singular at the half.
And Gene Katie called that timeout. In college basketball, a coach has 4 30-second timeouts and 1 60-second timeout. If you don't use one of your 30s in the first half, you lose it. So Gene Katie decided that with only a 6-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock, he would take his use it or lose it timeout and see if he can't get a play set up, possibly to get the lead at halftime.
Buckley, the freshman, working on Temple. Now Parkinson with 21 seconds left. There's about 5 seconds differential between game and shot clock. Kilgore looks inside, back out. Buckley thought about the three. He's got 4 on the shot. Kilgore, long range off the rim. Cartello tried to save it. 3 ticks left. 2. LSU with a chance at the buzzer. And it just hit the back of the iron. LSU 21-10, Purdue 18-10. We played 20 minutes, and Dan, it's 32-all.
Very competitive first half.
Let's go courtside, and here's Brett Haber.
All right, guys, thanks very much, Coach. These 8-9 games are usually pretty tight. Doesn't get much tighter than this. Tie game, 5 lead changes, pretty much what you expected.
Well, yeah, and Purdue's very physical defensively. We got them in some foul trouble there. We went to the line. We got a double bonus going, but we let them get some offensive rebounds on us there that were critical. We had a chance to separate the lead, and you got to credit them. We're not shooting the ball really well. I thought we missed some opportunities there to make some shots that we normally have made, but you've got to give them credit for defending us pretty good the first half and getting some offensive rebounds on us.
Coach, thanks very much.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Brett. John Brady from LSU. We'll hear from Gene Cady as we start the second half. It's 32-all here in Birmingham, Alabama. After this break, we'll send you to New York City and Greg Gumbel in Birmingham. Greg Bolerjack, Dan Bonner, and Brett Haber, and our CBS crew. Welcome back at halftime. And Dan, simple, what separates these two teams tied at 32 in the next 20 minutes?
Well, I think the Purdue defense has really been a big factor in the first half, and so Purdue has to continue to be physical with LSU, and they've got to get the opportunity to get out and run. For LSU, they're only 3 of 13 shooting threes, but after a quick start, they seem to forget about Jaime Ureta in the first half.
Let's take a look at those first half stats, because you talk about field goals and three-pointers. Lowe was terrific for Purdue.
Well, the three-point field goals, you can see they're only 3 of 13 for LSU. Both defenses pretty good. Purdue has turned the ball over 11 times, and that hasn't helped. And Lowe has been fabulous, 14 points, but Ureta has 10 points, but he scored most of those very early in the game.
Let's go to Brett Haber, who just moments ago talked to Gene Cady.
Coach, I know you wanted to push the ball in this game. You've gotten some points in transition in the first half. Are you happy with the tempo?
Well, we've got too many turnovers. We've got 11 turnovers, so we got to cut that down. Then they've got too many offensive rebounds. We have 11 turnovers. They have 11 offensive rebounds, so we got to get rid of the 11s.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
20 minutes to go. 32 apiece, LSU and Purdue. The 8th seed against the 9th seed.
That's why Gene Cady's been around so long as a coach. Those 11 turnovers and 11 offensive rebounds. That's 22 extra possessions for LSU. And in a tie game, you don't have to look very far down the stat sheet to see what the problem is.
Lowe went inside to Booker. Loose ball picked up. Now Lowe has it. Swings it around the horn.
And Dean has been very quiet for Purdue. He's only got 2 points in the game.
1 of 6 in the first half. Lowe pulls up short, and it's saved, but yet it comes right back to the Boilermakers. Booker had it, and now hands to McKnight.
LSU stays in the man-to-man defense.
Dean for 3. Got it.
Just the guy we're talking about. I mean, he is gonna, if Purdue's gonna have an offensive spark, then the guy who averages 18 points a game appears to be a pretty good candidate to provide it.
Now 2 of 7 shooting is Willie Dean. The lead is 3. We played a minute. They tried the alley-oop, and it is knocked away. Last touch by the Boilermakers.
That was a telegraphed play right there. Everybody knew that was coming, and Lowe was able to take a couple of steps to get a good run to knock that one down.
Then I'm thinking John Brady wants Ronald Dupree more involved in this offense these next 19 minutes.
It's been very difficult for him to get involved in the offense. Lowe, right at that point, was matched up against Collis Temple, the third, but Lowe, for the most part, has been matched up against Dupree. And I think Lowe hurt that shoulder again. He was carrying that left arm a little bit awkwardly.
He'll go out with 3 fouls, and Melvin Buckley, the freshman, who was 3 of 6 in the first half for 8 points, checks in. Boy, quick off that first step, had an easy look at the layup, missed it. Buckley drops it on the low block. Nice pass inside. Busher, his third bucket. 6 points. 37-32. Purdue opens up a 5-0 run to start the second half. The lob. Ureta dropped it. Tried to go back up, but was fouled. And Busher will pick up his second.
We've talked about Purdue needing some points from their inside guys. Here Booker does a nice job catching the ball. Now the double team comes and Busher does what he's supposed to do. He cuts to the basket. Torres Bright doesn't get to him in time. But Busher makes that play by going to the goal.
Temple had a good look on the inbounds play.
Another
Bright,
offensive rebound.
Oh, Bright rebounds, and now it's a loose ball. Dean with showtime. But he lays it up and in.
In this kind of a game, you're not as worried about showtime as you are about getting the basket.
Willie Dean, 7 points. Purdue starts off on a 7-0 run. And we'll be back. (39-32). Purdue leading a 7-0 run, Dan, to start the second half.
And lots of times you're able to do that. You get your offense in gear with your defense. Lackadaisical pass right there by Torres Bright, and Dean knocks the ball away. That's what Purdue wants to do. Use their defense to create some transition opportunities. The Boilermakers, who started the game on a 6-0 run, as you mentioned, now Gene Katie's troops start the second half on a 7-0 run, and LSU, speaking of runs, will be running uphill for a little while. But LSU, they've got to get Torres Bright involved offensively. They've got to get Dupree involved offensively, and there is going to be another turnover by LSU as Collis Temple III gets called for setting an illegal screen.
That will be his second. John Brady chewing on the nails. 39-32 Purdue. LSU was tied at 32 at the half. And it's been a 7-0 run for the Boilermakers. And the roll continues.
It was a first half that featured the Purdue defense against the LSU defense. LSU forced 11 Purdue turnovers, so even though LSU didn't shoot it well in the first half, they forced those turnovers. Purdue has been struggling getting their big guys scoring opportunities, but their Booker converts and draws the foul. But Purdue has stopped turning the ball over.
Booker.
And their defense has remained solid.
And Dan Booker was 0 for 2 in the first half, so he's on the board. A 3-point play, and the foul whistled on Jaime Ureta, his first. All of a sudden, what was a very close first 20 minutes, and Purdue has just opened up an easy 10-point lead in the early minutes of this second half.
Purdue has made it very difficult for LSU when Purdue's been able to set this half-court defense. And with that kind of play right there, physical, aggressive play.
Whipple lost it, and the freshman hits the 3-ball, Melvin Buckley.
And another timeout by LSU.
What a game for Buckley. You said, hey, this is his first NCAA tournament game. He could care less. 11 points for the freshman, and we'll be back.
Retirement plans from the Principal Financial Group can prepare you for almost anything.
You got
retiring!
At the Principal, we're the nation's 401k leader. We offer mutual funds, annuities, and rollover IRAs, which leads to a secure, happy retirement.
Ted!
Ted, how'd you do it?
Planning.
For 120 years, the Principal Financial Group, we understand what you're working for.
45-32, 17:09 left. And Dan, if you just joined us around the country, this game was as tight as could be in the first 20 minutes. Right now, a 13-0 run to start this half for Purdue. LSU this half 0 for 2 from the floor. Now 0 for 3 with 3 turnovers. Dupree.
Well, there's Ureta again. 2 offensive rebounds on that possession. Remember, Gene Katie said they wanted to stop giving up those rebounds to LSU, but that's easier said than done with a guy like Ureta on the inside.
Dan, it took nearly 3.5 minutes to get the first bucket of this half for LSU. Ureta now with 12 points. Boy, he's hot. Buckley says, give it to me. 14 for the freshman from Chicago.
And he sticks out those arms. No wonder he is flying around the court today. Wow.
You made the point, though. They've got to get Dupree in the flow of this game. Bright, double team, kicks Dupree, had a good look. Way off the mark. Rebound goes to Purdue. Booker had it, then threw it away as he was looking for a little help from a trailer from a point guard. Timeout, 15:59 remaining. Purdue by 14. What a different scene it is now in Birmingham. LSU fans were doing a little dance, Dan, at halftime. It was 32 apiece. They made that 5.5-hour drive from Baton Rouge, and there's not much to smile about right now. 15:59 left. Purdue 48, LSU 34.
And that's a pretty good idea. That guy skipped class to see an alley-oop to Ronald Dupree, and that would certainly be a good thing for LSU to try to get. But Purdue has really done a nice job defensively against Dupree. And one of the guys who has been responsible for that is Brett Busher. Number 3 in the black. He is the guy who, along with Kenneth Lowe, he's shadowed Dupree most of the game. And Busher, it's been very difficult for Dupree to get anything done.
Dan, only 2 of 7, 6 points for Dupree.
Well, Dupree, Busher's 6'8", 240 pounds, and it's really difficult for Dupree to get anything accomplished on the inside against a man that size.
Ureta gets the bucket. Now 14 points and 10 rebounds. 9th double-double this season.
And Dean, I think, turned his ankle.
Down momentarily, trying to walk it off. Dan, you know what that's all about.
Well, you get that and it hurts like crazy. Then you get up and hopefully it'll be fine, and Dean is okay, although that may swell up this evening. LSU now drops back into the 2-3 zone.
McKnight working on Mitchell.
Tough shot.
Yeah, Buckley a little wild. Here comes LSU. Dupree puts it on the floor, tries. Blocked away from behind. Booker got up and said, swatted it away. Dean the other way and hit.
Boy, it's all good right now for Purdue. That was a very difficult shot.
Boy, if that ankle hurts, that shot was like throwing an ice bag on it, you know? Bright on the move, up top Dupree. Mitchell caught up in the air, trying to find Hudson and threw it away.
That's a good pass, but Dave Libby's not eligible to catch it. We've talked all afternoon long about Purdue's defense. That time Dupree gets past Busher, but Booker is there to rebound, and then Purdue gets out on the offensive end, and that is a difficult floater by Dean, but everything's going well for Purdue right now.
28th block of the season for Booker, the junior from Fort Worth, transferred from Tyler Junior College. McKnight out of Dean, long range shot. Ureta the rebound.
Purdue has been playing so well in its offense. LSU going to this zone, just an attempt to get Purdue to stand a little bit, but there, the turnover on the offensive foul.
Hudson gave the freshman Buckley a push.
John Brady obviously concerned, but his team has been very impatient on the offensive end in the second half, and you've got to give the Purdue defense a lot of credit for that. LSU trying to push it up before the Purdue defense can get set, and there's Buckley. That offensive foul is called because Hudson pushes off with the arm. There's Dupree. That's the guy we're talking about. If LSU is going to come back, he has to get more involved offensively, but it's very difficult. Busher, we mentioned it, 6'8", 240. If Dupree tries to post up inside, Busher just pushes him away. And then if he takes Busher off the dribble from the outside, then Booker is there to help out and block the shot. And here Busher's going to go out of the game. Kiefer's going to come in. Busher has really had an outstanding game.
Busher, 6 points. Kiefer, the 6'10 freshman, 220, checks in. Also Parkinson in for Purdue. Under 14 minutes left.
And there's still plenty of time. You can play this zone. Because with the 35-second shot clock, Purdue has to make offensive plays. And since LSU went to the zone, Purdue has not attacked it very well in the set offense.
Ureta, tough, trying to move inside and move the big body of Booker. Count it, and a chance for a three-point play.
You talk about just forcing your way to the basket. This is what Ureta does. And Parkinson, look at Parkinson right here. He's going to come down and try to help out, but Ureta is still able to get the ball and power it to the basket.
Dan, think about what type of player, what type of damage he can do if he could elevate his free throw percentage from 56 to, say, even 70.
When you get that many opportunities from the free throw line, obviously, if you're a better free throw shooter, you're going to help your team. Because I tell you what, when you go to the line and you miss, that takes away an offensive opportunity. In some cases, that's almost like a turnover.
2 of 8, Ureta from the free throw line. 50-38. Purdue on top. It was tied at 32 at the half. Now Dean has it. Parkinson up top. Buckley, the freshman. Oh, 17 points for Melvin Buckley.
And how many threes does he have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, there you go. 5 out of 6 shooting threes. You saw that three-point shooting statistic. Purdue is not a team that relies heavily on the three-point basket. LSU is a team that relies on the three.
Right. Drains it just inside the arc, a 2-point shot. Lataurus Bright, only his second hoop of the game, 4 points. He averages just over 11 a game. It's a 13-point game. Purdue, Buckley, 5 of 6. The rest of the team in that three-point category, Dan, 2 of 8.
When you have that 5 of 6 weapon, that really helps you out.
Unexpected, would you not say, from a freshman in his first tournament game? Jump ball, possession arrow, LSU.
Nice defensive play by Bright to come back. You get the double team down low. Somebody's got to come and guard that other big guy. Bright a little bit late, but gets the blocked shot.
Mitchell dumps it down low, off the hands of Ureta.
Gwen, that's something you haven't said very often today, because Ureta does a great job catching the ball on the inside. And Busher, he's been so valuable, he comes right back in. Kiefer was just in there to give Busher a little breather.
Dan, LSU in the first half took care of the ball so well under a lot of pressure. Only 5 turnovers. The first 8 minutes of this half already have turned it over 6 times.
That's hard to score if you're not shooting the ball.
Tough D, Parkinson. Crowd giving out a roar of boos. Busher was tangled up. Now the officials are discussing the issue.
What they're talking about now, Gene Katie just called a timeout. And they're going to give Gene Katie the timeout. The question is, if John Higgins, the official over here, had a 10-second violation, they would not have granted the timeout. But he called that timeout to avoid 10 seconds. Purdue by 13.
.59, 53-40. As we were away, John Brady really went after the officials and teed him up.
Well, what John Brady is complaining about is the shot clock shows that there are 24 seconds left, which means 11 seconds expired from the time they took the ball inbounds until that whistle blew. And John Brady is saying, hey guys, that's 11 seconds. You should have called a violation, a 10-second violation, but they gave Gene Katie the timeout instead.
Willie Dean steps to the free throw line and calmly, coolly knocks down his 10th and 11th point, plus possession to Purdue.
And of course the rule is you have to get the ball across the half-court line within 10 seconds.
Another timeout, 11:59 remaining. Purdue, it's been all Boilermakers this half. They're up by 15.
Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg in our studios in New York. 55-40 Purdue in charge. We'll get you back there after we first check into what's
upset about. He did get the technical. He was mad at the officials, but I think he's more concerned about the way his team has played. They've only scored 8 points here in the second half.
32 all at the half. Purdue making a run. A little follow-away jumper wouldn't go, and the rebound ripped down by Ureta. Now Bright spots up. Well, the shot just won't go.
And when LSU started the season very slowly. And one of the reasons they did, they won 7 of their last 8 games to get into the NCAA tournament. But one of the problems they had early in the season is they didn't shoot the ball well, and they have not shot the ball well today.
Willie Dean, follow away. Hit the iron, kick back. Here comes LSU. They got 3 on 2, and they slow it up.
Well, they slow it up because Purdue got 4 guys back in a big hurry. Nice defensive effort by Purdue.
LSU calls timeout. John Brady up with his pad and pencil. We'll step aside. Be right back to Birmingham. (55-40) Purdue by 15. 11:01 remaining.
Gene Katie has to be very pleased with the way his team has played in this second half. They have just dominated the game defensively, totally taken LSU out.
Purdue on a 23-8 run to start this half. They were tied at 32. Keith Lowe with 14. Melvin Buckley, the big story, Dan. The freshman for Purdue was 17 points, 5 3-pointers. Dupree.
Shot clock violation. Now Buckley has been a story, but another story has been the defense played against Dupree, and that for the most part that's been Brett Busher.
Dupree 2 of 9. He has not scored in this half.
LSU back to the man-to-man.
Teague has it, goes down low. Busher stepped out of bounds. LSU basketball.
That young man Busher, Gene Katie gave him the start today. Obviously Gene Katie knew what he was doing. There's another LSU turnover because Busher's really been outstanding.
Boy, if pictures could talk. John Brady. It's amazing, Dan, the stories of 2 halves. Interesting tempo in the first 20 minutes. Both teams on the floor, scrapping, hitting big shots. Ureta had 10 at the half. It was 32 all, and it's just been a totally different LSU team this half. Teague has a good look and hits it. A 3-ball.
What you have going on is that LSU, because of great Purdue defense, has not been able to score, but the Purdue offense has really gotten in gear.
First bucket for Teague, a freshman. He owns the 3-point field goals made record at Purdue with now 35 and a strong move. Ureta will go to the free throw line, but he's had trouble all season long, and the same goes for today.
Busher picks up the foul right there, but this Purdue defense, what they have done is they've decided that Ureta is not going to beat them all by himself. And so they're not really pressuring Ureta as much on the inside. They're more worried about the guys out on the perimeter, and Purdue has done a great job with their 3-point defense.
Hits the free throw. 19 for Jaime Ureta. Out of Panama.
Now LSU going to try some pressure.
Purdue, Dan, 9 of 15 from the floor this half, 60%. Under 10 minutes to go. Low. But look at him go. Tipped it away. Busher kept it alive. 10 on the shot clock. Now Booker. McKnight drives, hangs, floats, and a whistle.
Well, and that's the way it's gone in the second half for LSU. Purdue in the half-court offense was struggling. The shot clock's running down, and McKnight takes the ball to the basket, and he gets fouled by Whipple. That's a situation where you don't want to foul.
McKnight makes his first. Live telecasts of NCAA men's tournament games are available now online and on demand over the internet. To find out more, simply go to ncaasports.com. McKnight with a pair.
And keep in mind that Purdue as a team is a 75% free throw shooting team, so it's unlikely that you're going to get back in the game with the Boilermakers missing free throws. 12 today.
12 of 12.
That's even better than 75%.
Let me do the math. Yeah, you're right. 9 minutes left. 17-point lead for Purdue.
Busher just picked up his 4th personal foul, so now we'll see whether Dupree can get going offensively.
That's not been the case to this point. Still looking for his first second-half points. Hudson has it stripped, still battling. Now the loose ball comes out to Lowe.
And a big grin on the face of Lowe as he lopes up the court, and you can understand why.
Nice feed inside. McKnight will double fake off the window. Brandon McKnight, 6 points out of South Bend, Indiana. The lead grows to 62-43. Tough defense baseline. They kick it back out top, and it's hit by Mitchell.
Now that's what Purdue has been able to avoid with Ureta scoring very effectively inside. He's been getting them 2 at a time, but you saw Purdue double down. That gave Ureta the opportunity to pass it out to Mitchell for a 3, and LSU's going to have to start making some of those if they're going to come back.
Booker right at the free throw line.
Well, that's not the shot that Gene Katie wants Booker to take. If Booker's going to shoot it, he's fine with his back to the basket. But boy, with a big lead, you don't want your center shooting the ball from 15 feet away early in the shot clock.
13th rebound for Ureta. Whipple on the drive to the corner. Long three-point shot off the mark.
That was a tough three-point shot, too. McKnight was right in Mitchell's face.
Mitchell pretty good from the outside at 43%, but not today. Oh, look at that. Just kind of pushed it in was David Teague.
You know, we've talked about these Purdue freshmen, and Buckley has had an outstanding game, and Teague has contributed, particularly in the second half.
5 points he's knocked down for Purdue this half alone. 64-46. Hudson wants the 3. Another rebound for Ureta.
They're going to call it travel, I believe.
Right you are, and troubles continue for John Brady and LSU. A timeout, 6:51 left here in Birmingham. (64-46) our score. There's Collis Temple the third. When I say the third, his dad was the second. And for more, let's go to Brett Haber.
That's right, Craig. You know, Josh Maravich is not the only legacy player at this LSU program. Collis Temple's dad, Collis Temple Jr., played for the Tigers in the 70s and was the first African-American player in LSU history. The racism he endured in the SEC was so severe at sometimes at road games he had to remain in the locker room during warm-ups for his safety. I think it's safe to say that the son is now reaping the benefits of the doors that the father opened, guys.
Yeah, indeed. Brett, nice story. Collis Temple the third. He has struggled today. A couple of threes, Dan, in the first half, and has not scored this half.
The Purdue defense has just done an outstanding job. They've closed down Dupree, they've closed down Bright, they've closed down Hollis Temple III. The only guy who has been effective for LSU has been Jaime Ureta. And again, it's almost as if the Purdue defense has decided that Ureta is not going to be able to beat them by himself.
Lowe has it, scored 14 in the first half. He's been quiet so far this half. Nice feed inside as Busher went strong and picks up the foul. Or draws the foul.
The story of the game really has been the Purdue defense, particularly in the second half. Purdue felt like they could be physical with LSU. They have been. They felt like that they could get out and run against LSU, and particularly in the second half, they have done that very effectively. And this young man, with his defense against Dupree, has been one of the big stories of this game.
Dupree picks up his third foul.
We talked about Purdue and their free throw shooting. Busher is only a 64% free throw shooter.
So Busher makes 1 of 2, 7 points. Dupree.
And McKnight got him. And again, you see the kind of thing that Dupree has faced. Inside, Busher has just pushed him around, but when he tries to drive the ball to the basket against Busher, he can get by Busher, but the Purdue defense collapses on it.
Bright takes the quick 3 off the inbounds. Shots, the long shots just won't go. In fact, no shots are falling down in this half. 6 minutes to play. And Dan, right now, Purdue looking at a second-round matchup with Texas.
You talk about two big, strong teams.
Wow. Lowe comes off the screen. Down low, Busher slapped away. Look at that. Kiefer to the freshman. Gene Katie's got to be very pleased with his play from David Teague. Of course, Buckley's been huge, and Matt Kiefer.
Now Kiefer had himself in the right place, but Busher couldn't get that pass, but knocked it down.
Long 3 on the way. No. Busher the rebound. Antonio Hudson had a good look, but just off his range. And now Lowe will just stand and hold. 5 minutes left.
Now, Purdue can obviously afford to be patient. You don't want to get complacent, even here in this situation with the way LSU can shoot threes. If they get hot, they can close the gap rapidly. You don't want to stop playing.
Low baseline floater. Dupree the rebound. 2-on-2. Dupree drives, hangs it up and hits. Well, that ends a long drought for Ronald Dupree.
LSU has had very few transition opportunities, particularly in the second half.
Yeah, that's Dupree's first points since the 4:06 mark that was left in the first half of play. And he's gone, what, 20 minutes? Three seconds. Substitutions. Willie Dean will come in. Lowe will take a seat. And also the freshman Melvin Buckley will come back in for Gene Katie. Nice game by Lowe, shaken up a bit. Willie Dean, Dan with 11. 4 minutes to play, 67-48 Purdue. Temple from long range, hadn't been there. Cannot connect. Dean, the lob. Kiefer. Boy, lets the traffic fly by, and Temple got up on his shoulder for a little ride.
Hollis Temple III. He has his undergraduate degree and a graduate degree. He may be the only guy playing college basketball working on a doctorate.
Unbelievable. Earned his master's in sports management in December. Kiefer with the free throw. Yeah, he is the definition of student athlete. Getting it done on both responsibilities. Kiefer good on the second. And a timeout. Purdue with a runaway here in the second half after being tied up at 32 at the half. And we'll be back.
Greg Gumbel in New York, 3:48 to play. Purdue with a 69-48 lead. We'll get you back there, but we want to give you a look and a listen to what's happening.
3:48 remaining.
And it's been total domination by Purdue in the second half. LSU shooting only 1 of 11 from three-point range in the second. 1 of 9, excuse me, from three-point range in the second half. Only 7 of 20 from inside the arc. So only 8 field goals in the second half.
Dupree spots for the three.
Temple got caught pushing off. And one of the things that we mentioned before, you notice that Purdue has 69 points. On the season, Purdue is 18-0 when they score 69 or more, 0-10 when they don't get to 69. So Purdue has hit their magic number.
You've been wanting to mention that all day.
I've mentioned it a couple of times.
No, it's true. 69 is that magic number. And Buckley makes it 70.
And again, what a game Buckley has had. You get that kind of offensive punch off the bench. It's okay to smile when you play the way that young man has played.
Around and out. Buckley with 18. Ureta puts it on the floor. Drive, strong move, and could not get it to drop. Purdue LSU going down the stretch run. 3:11 left. And Purdue leads 70-48. It was tied at 32 at the half. And this second half, Dan, has just been all Purdue. Shots would not go down for LSU, and Dupree, the man for the Tigers, has just been unable to get involved offensively.
And I think a lot of the credit for that has to go to the Purdue defense. Purdue has just been outstanding.
LSU still fighting, trying to reach in for the steal,
and that's basically the way it's gone for LSU in the second half. You can see John Brady, his posture indicates that it has been a long second 20 minutes.
Inbound to Willie Dean. You break the press. Kiefer. Now the freshman Buckley, who's been a big story here with 18 points. And Purdue, Dan, just willing to let the clock run. They got 14 on the shot, 2:49 left. Battle on the deck, 4 on the shot. It's knocked away, out of bounds.
And that really is not a bad possession for Purdue with a 20-point lead. You run the shot clock down, and that's what they did. They ran 31 seconds off the clock, and that was the most important thing.
Dan, look at that. 1 seeds of 1 by an average of 24.5. Central Michigan gets a win in the first round.
And Stanford still in the tournament, as you would expect. Bright hits the 3.
7 for Taurus Bright, still off his season average of 11.2.
Well, Bright, a senior, one of the guys out there who's going to end his college career today, and he's going to end it as the all-time leading three-point shooter in LSU history. We mentioned Dupree. That's another guy who this is going to be his final game. Only Duran Macklin, Shaquille O'Neal, and Bob Pettit, like Dupree, have been in the top 10 in LSU in both scoring and rebounding, so he has had a great LSU career. You got to be kidding.
Oh, when things are going right. Chris Booker hits the 3.
Booker now 2 of 12 on the year shooting 3. And I think Gene Katie's going to call a timeout just to tell Booker to stop that.
It's a 20-point game. 1:43 left on the clock. We'll be back. Purdue leads LSU by 20, and it's time to check out the Chevrolet most valuable players of the game, and they are, for Purdue, Dan, Melvin Buckley, the freshman, a career-high 18 points, 5 of 6. Jaime Ureta with a tough stand for LSU with 19. Not enough.
Well, you talk about Buckley. This is only the third time in his college career that Buckley, who now has 20, has even scored in double figures. He only has 2 double-figure games. In fact, he's had 9 games this year where he hadn't scored at all.
Trying to do a little fancy end. LSU wouldn't have it. Bright, now he alley-oops. Dupree couldn't get it to go. 3-point shot from the corner. Torres Bright, double figures with 10. Well, he's been a durable player for LSU. 128 of 129 games at LSU he has started. That is a school record. And a timeout. 57 seconds and change left in Birmingham. Purdue looking to move on.
The Home Depot is more than a store. It's a commitment to having the lowest possible prices every day, and not just a promise. It's the assurance of a price protection guarantee. It's a reminder of just how smart you really are. It's a little extra change in your pocket, and the know-how to make every dollar work. It's more than a store. The Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
Here's the South region, how the first round is going to work out. Texas will take on Purdue, and UConn and Stanford. So the 5 and 4 seeds in the 1 versus the 9. Texas Purdue will play here in Birmingham on Sunday. Kiefer. Purdue will just try to work that clock down as low as they can. Under 42 seconds. Inside they go. Hanging on the rim. Did he get it? Got it. And the foul.
Kevin Garrett, he doesn't really play very much. In fact, has only played 42 minutes all season long. So the bench very excited that he's able to get in and get a basket. As we mentioned, the LSU career ending for Bright and Dupree and Temple, and all 3 of those guys more than 1,000 points in their career at LSU.
Dan, as the final seconds tick off, can you look ahead to Sunday in this Purdue-Texas matchup?
Well, Purdue and Texas, we mentioned, they both have big, strong bodies on the inside. Remember, Purdue turned the ball over 11 times in the first half, and they certainly can't turn it over against the Texas Longhorns, nor can they give up 11 offensive rebounds in a half as they did in the first half of this game. But they play the way they did in the second half of this game, we'll have a heck of a ball game.
And then both these teams, Texas and Purdue, are deep. They go 10-11 deep. And so fatigue should not be a factor. Everybody's getting in on the scoring act.
Well, that's Andrew Ford. He's only played in 10 games this year.
Well, look at that smile. He's trying to hold it back, but he gets a bucket in the NCAA Tournament. 80-56 Purdue. Dupree puts it on the floor, drives. Well, that series right there again defines his day. And that's it. And Gene Cady has just tied Lou Carnesecca for 45th all-time in coaching. His 526th win. 80-56 the final here in Birmingham, Alabama. Let's go back to New York. And here's Greg Gumbel.
All right, Craig Clark-Kellogg calls it the most shocking development of the tournament so far. Purdue rolls over LSU, and they will move on to play Texas on Sunday. In Nashville, Utah by 2 over Oregon, 213 to